Okay, here we are. I arrive at the park and take a moment to reassure myself this was all happening. It's a beautiful day outside. The park is tranquil. The birds are singing. Isn't it beautiful? Okay, no. This isn't a CDI game. This is better than a CDI game. And nestled somewhere in the trees before me is Yuri, waiting for me in a small secluded graveyard. I vaguely remember noticing the graveyard here on previous visits, but I had never imagined it would hold such significance now. Well, I better not keep her waiting. A cooling breeze rustles the trees around me as I make my way to the graveyard, taking care not to disturb any of the graves. My mind is swirling with the prospects of the meeting before me. It will be the first time Yuri and I have gotten to talk properly since we separated days ago. There is so much I want to tell her, so much I want to apologize for, so many things I want to fix. I just hope I can do better, for both myself and for Yuri. I try and push the tempestuous thoughts back and focus on what's ahead. Before too long, I come upon Yuri right where we had planned to meet. Her tall figure is particularly ethereal. I'm going to say ethereal. Her tall figure is particularly ethereal, with the scenery and soothing winds, not smoothing winds. She looks at peace, like she could contentedly fade into the landscape and stay here forever. I like this music. Why can't you play this one more? Well, obviously. Yuri lights up as she notices my approach. She addresses me as I stand with her among the headstones. I hope this place is acceptable to you. I doubt many people enjoy spending time in a graveyard. Her trademark modesty helps set my mind at ease. Never change, Yuri. Please never change. It's a lovely spot. I don't mind at all. Yes, I come here when I need a quiet spot. It is very pleasant for reading or thinking. Just standing here and taking in the surroundings, I am inclined to agree. I can imagine. Peaceful, secluded, even calming in a way. Perfect for contemplation. And the dead are the only company that cannot judge you. Nope, that is true. Well, not so much in a morbid sense, but, well, kind of. I'm struck by her poignant words. She is right after all. Yep, see, he agrees. It makes me wonder just how much she's had to put up to come up with all that. Probably more than we'll ever know. I mean, considering that jerk and how much she told us to, stay away from her and that she's a freak. I mean, I can only imagine other people possibly doing worse to her. And I don't want to. Do you think it's weird at all, then, to meet up together at a graveyard? If I had been asked that question before meeting Yuri, I probably would have said yes. Now, however, it just feels right to be here. I don't think I could come up with a more fitting place for the wallflower Yuri. So yeah, she's a wallflower apparently. I guess I can kind of see that. Not at all. I think this is a great place, and thank you for sharing this and inviting me here. It clearly means a lot to you. Then again, I guess I'm kind of a wallflower myself in real life. Yuri beams at my affirmation. I'm glad. I haven't shared this place with many people. It means a lot to me as well, that you think so highly of it. Yuri pauses for a moment, looking contemplative. She takes a deep breath. Her eyes meet mine with a renewed vigor. Daniel, thank you for coming here despite my lack of communication. Having you here today after everything that's happened, it reassures me. I smile warmly in hopes of bolstering her confidence. Of course, how could I say no? And a pang of guilt flares again as I have trouble meeting Yuri's gaze. Don't say it like it's your fault. If anything, I should be apologizing for poor communication. I should have... Daniel! Yuri... What's gotten into you? The sudden outburst startles me. I am unable to finish my statement out of shock before Yuri follows up on her interjection. Please, Okay, well, she's back to normal. Her expression softens in apology. Don't be too hard on yourself. Since we met, you provided me with so much support, and I feel like I never properly reciprocated that support. You stood up for me like no one ever had before. Normally, I just duck my head at all the teasing and rumors, but you try to put a stop to them for my sake. Yeah, he even punched a guy in the face for you. That's how much he loves you. Although, I mean, at least in this day and age, you probably shouldn't, no, you really shouldn't do that, even if it's for the woman you love. Just saying. I thought I could handle it all. For a long time, I've typically preferred the company of books to people. The pages that took me away to faraway lands or gripped me in thrilling stories. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Sorry, just making sure I didn't skip anything. Yuri's voice begins to shake. The pages that don't call you a freak for having a knife collection as a girl. The pages that don't shun you for reading during all your free time. Yuri. When we started dating, it was a whole new experience for me. I had never been so close to someone before. I really enjoyed it, but I could not figure out how to express it. Well, sometimes when you don't know, when you're in love or whatever, you don't really know how to express it at first, especially if it is your first love. It's like, at least in my case, I was never really able to fully express my feelings to my first love. It was kind of difficult for me. I'm sorry, Daniel. You deserved better. Someone who doesn't stumble over their words so much. Someone who doesn't get you caught up in bullying. Someone who could handle intimacy better. Well, it's like I'm stumbling over my words right now. It's like we're perfect for each other. Okay, well, no. Anyways, this is him, not me. The sight of Yuri deflating pains my heart. If only she could see how much she's worth. Yeah. It's like she's worth any more of these jerkholes ever could be. I decisively grasp Yuri's hand with both of mine. She looks up at me, surprised. I find new resolve. Yuri, please don't apologize. Not once have I ever regretted spending time with you. Don't worry about the animus... see? Case in point. Don't worry about the animacy or reciprocity or anything like that. It's all new to me too. Exactly. Like I'm saying, if it's your first love, I mean, how do you know how to deal with those feelings? You really don't at first. You just have to kind of go with it until the both of you kind of warm up to the idea. And once you have that kind of experience and you know how to deal with it, that's the kind of thing that we need to figure out together at our own pace. Yep, pretty much what I'm saying right now. Whatever bumps and hiccups there are along the way, just being with you makes it rewarding. And there are things that I could certainly have done better as well. Yeah, like you said, like not losing your temper and not sucking that guy in the face even though he was being really huge jerk. And that's me putting it nicely. I'm sorry for trying to keep secrets from you. I thought that it would be best for you to never see nasty things like the chain email. But I see now that I was wrong, and that you're much stronger than I am. But Yuri takes on a somber expression. I should show you something. Oh man. Before I can respond, Yuri begins rolling up her left sleeve. On her forearm lay a small assortment of short white scars. Yeah, this is it. But I think I'll let Yuri kind of explain for herself here. Realization sets in. I feel a pit in my stomach form as I try and formulate coherent words. Are these... Yuri nods, her expression remaining pensive. They started as an escape. When I was younger, I thought that if I could distract myself, the feelings of isolation would go away. The pain was an outlet. The idea of desperation, intense enough to drive Yuri to self-harm, sends chills down my spine. But it did not end there. It became more than a distraction. I have difficulty getting close to others. It was no different back then either. I would often find myself overeager in sharing my interests when attempting to make friends. She really is me in high school. It's like sometimes I would get overeager with my interests as well. In some cases I didn't know if I was maybe putting off people or boring them or anything. Which was why I was always super happy whenever I found anyone I could talk to. I do not blame others for being weirded out. Few shared an interest in my favorite books. I don't know if I ever got to mention my knives, but I'm sure that would have creeped them out more. My distraction turned into a sort of punishment, a chastisement for my failures. I was sabotaging my own chances at friendships. I got overexcited. I shared too much, too quickly. Well, at least in my case, I don't think it was so much that I shared too much about myself personally, just... I don't know. But Like I've said before, she is pretty much like me in high school, and a little bit of my college years. So I hurt myself more and more. Recompense. Excitement only brought me trouble. I was sure to ruin the situation at hand whenever I got overwhelmed. My heart sinks as I realize there is still more to the story. Yuri cast her eyes aside. I wanted to stop there. I really did, but something was nagging at me all those times. It was small at first, a siren song whispering to me that I needed more, that the blades should never leave my arm. I realized. Yuri pauses to gather herself. I realized that I got a certain high from cutting. I don't know how, but it took a hold of me. So in a sense, it kind of became like an addiction, a harmful one. Well, most addictions are harmful, let's face it. Seeing my blood flow and feeling the cool steel go into my skin, all while remembering my own failures. I inwardly wince at the imagery, but I can't falter for Yuri. Not now. No, because she needs you now more than ever. Now, whenever I find myself drawing particularly close to someone, or I'm reminded of how much I've awkwardly fumbled, the urge grows. I hate it, and yet I depend on it. I feel powerless against it. I recall her raccoon poem. Okay, yeah, here we go. Yeah, so the raccoon poem was pretty much a telltale sign right there. Kind of about the guilty pleasure, so to say. You know it's wrong, but you still kind of fall into that trap. Let's see, I recall her raccoon poem and how, when we worked on the festival decorations, she had rolled her sleeve, or she had her sleeve rolled back. The grim pieces all start to fall into place. I don't want to live like this, but I can't tear myself away. Even now, Yuri's voice strains. I'm just a freak, ending up like this. You're not a freak, Yuri. Don't say that. My words fail me as I stand, stunned by Yuri's reveals. To think she had a past and present like this. I know. It's like, she's definitely gone through so much. Well, pretty much all of these girls have. Natsuki, Sayori, especially Yuri. Monica, I still... Depending on what mod it is, it kind of gives her a different story every time, so... But, I mean, I'm pretty sure Monica has her own sort of troubles as well. But we'll get to that eventually. When some people see scars like these, they use them as another reason to belittle others. So, I wear long sleeves all the time. In other words, to hide the scars. She takes a deep breath. I haven't told anyone else about these scars. If you want to leave, I understand. They're unsightly after all. I'm not going anywhere, Yuri. I'm not leaving you by yourself. Silence hangs in the air. I'm desperately trying to think of what to say, to offer anything to Yuri. Here she is, revealing her past to me. And now is when I draw a blank. Not now. Please, anytime but now. Find the right words. Yeah, come on. You gotta do this for her. You need to stay strong for her. Nothing. What? What is wrong with me? Oh man. No, Yuri. Yuri forces a weak smile. Well, thank you for listening, Daniel. I... I'm sorry to have I'm sorry to have gotten you caught up in so many ugly things. I'll take my leave now. What are you doing? Don't let her get away. Stop her. She turns and starts to walk away. Is this how it ends? She just walks away? No, I can't let it. Yuri, wait. I call out without knowing exactly what I'm going to say, but I'll figure something out. Yeah, just stop her, say anything, anything at all. Sayori already opened up about her problems with me. Then, I failed as a friend. I can't afford to fail another person dear to me. Especially when it's the woman you love. You can't fail her. I'll finally work on setting things right with my words this time. Yuri turns back in surprise. Yuri, nothing you've told me makes me want to turn away. Believe me. I admire you a lot, Yuri. I should have told you earlier. I try and imagine myself in your position, and I don't know if I can do what you do. Your confession about your tendencies. I go up as I gather the words appropriate for the gravity of the subject. Yeah, you gotta definitely choose your words carefully here. I can't imagine that's easy to confess. And thank you for the trust you put in me. It means a lot to me. Beyond that, just seeing the way you do things, it makes me like you that much more. In the face of harassment for your hobbies or your mannerisms, you haven't given up. You have kept your passions despite all that. You could have tried acting different or finding new interests, but you didn't. And take it from my middle school years. Don't try to do that to yourself. You're only going to end up hurting yourself in the end. And of course, I sort of learned that the hard way. Just stay true to yourself. And don't listen to what any people tell you or anything like that. Do you remember the festival? I remember standing around like some kind of moron. It was you that asked me to hold your hand. You had the courage to approach me like that. Yeah, so true. That all is why I find encouragement from you. You have bravery that I don't. Yuri's voice begins to quiver. Do you really mean all that? Even with... She trails off. I draw a bit closer. I do. I love reading with you. I love sharing poetry with you. I love spending time with you. It makes me really happy seeing you enjoy yourself, you know. And hey, who cares what others think that you have a knife collection? I think it's really cool that you have one. But why? Because knives are cool. I really shouldn't be trying them. This is a serious situation. Why? How do you enjoy my company so much? Because I love you. Just say it. Just say those words to her. I feel my heartbeat quicken. I know how I feel now. Then go on and say it, my man. Well, that's because I love you, Yuri. Tears begin to cloud in Yuri's eyes. Oh man. Like I was saying in Natsuki's route, I'm sorry if I get kind of over emotional. But I offer an embrace to Yuri. She accepts. Aww. It sounds like the tears are in full force. Hearing her cry like this, I'm having a hard time keeping my own composure, but I have to try. Me especially, because I'm the one reading this. Aren't I just a freak? I don't know if I deserve love like this. Of course you do, Yuri. Everyone does. Yuri, that's nonsense. I'm an obsessive freak who harms herself because she has no other way to deal with her problems. I'm too weak to stop despite how badly I keep trying to. Not only that, but I don't know how but I don't know how to express myself to people without weirding them out. I broke up with you even though you were so nice to me. I didn't talk to you or anyone for days. How can you still love me after everything? Hearing Yuri like this stings. Yeah, it stings especially me since, well, it's like I said, she's really hitting a chord with me here. The words from Natsuki and Sayori come back to me. Now more than ever, I want to say the right thing. I don't quite know how I managed to articulate everything in this situation, but Yuri, I just told you how, didn't I? We all have our highs, and we all have our lows. The low points can feel awful, but they don't define us. They're just points. We work on making it past them. I realized that when you broke up with me, it was because you didn't want me getting hurt by association with you. But you don't have to do that, alright? Yeah, just screw what they all say. What matters is what we have. Just being with you, it makes the word of any harasser meaningless. Please, it's okay to think of yourself at times. I know you can keep yourself going, but you don't have to bear it all yourself. Exactly. Especially if you don't have to bear it all yourself, let that other person in. I don't want to force support on you or anything, but I should have said this earlier, and I apologize. You've been there for me, and now it's my turn to be there for you. Be here for you. Well, whatever. If you're feeling down or troubled, I'm here if you want someone to talk to. Someone to lean on. Just whenever you feel like you need it, I'm here. And now she's smiling. Daniel. Yuri hugs me tighter. Words come through the sobs. Oh, now her smile's gone. Even though I harm myself, and I don't want to hurt myself anymore or cause worry for others. Hearing Yuri like this makes it hard to hold back my own tears. Yeah, even then, and you know, That's why we have others. People we can rely on, right? I have my own problems too. I've lashed out at people, and I think it wouldn't hurt getting more direction in my life either. But we don't have to tackle everything today. Just take it one step at a time, really. We can help each other gradually. We can work together on these things, right? And beyond that, I'm sure there are others who would listen to us should we need it. Exactly. Get help if you need it. Anyone that you can trust. Anyone at all. We can go one day at a time. Yuri, if you'll still have me, I won't give up on you. If you need anyone, I want to be the support that I failed to offer before, because you've already helped me. I want to be there for you. A breeze blows. We stand there together, the silent moment only punctuated by the occasional sob. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I feel a wetness on my cheeks. At first I think it's from Yuri's tears, but no. It's my own tears I feel rolling down my face. Here we are, two high schoolers crying over our emotions in a graveyard, trying to figure things out. I bring an arm to my face in an attempt to wipe away my own tears, when I am surprised by an interruption. There's that smile again. It's alright to cry, Daniel. This is a moment that warrants such, is it not? Yeah, I'd say. I mean, well, here I am, a college student, on the verge of tears, reading a story about two high schoolers crying in a graveyard. I smile at her logic and quietly agree between sobs. Thus, we stand together for a moment longer. Okay, well, I don't think I would have been able to take more of that. Eventually, we regain our composure and break from the hug. For a moment, we just look at each other, mutually unsure of what to say next. One day at a time. I like the sound of that. Yuri wrings her wrist, seemingly unconsciously. If we could be together again, like the way things were, that would make me really happy, and I promise I'll communicate with you more should something arise. And I'll stick to more proper applications of my knives. I don't think I'm ready to tell the rest of the club about it. Well, you don't have to. One day at a time, right? You don't have to if you don't want to. If I roll around the idea in my head a bit to ensure it sounds right. If needed, we can seek a professional. Is that alright? Yeah, I guess therapy in this case, maybe? Yuri ponders for a few seconds before nodding in agreement. Yes, that's alright. I'll work on controlling myself better as well, and being a better listener. Yuri nods and smiles encouragingly. So, pick up where we left off then? Yes, that sounds wonderful. We stand once more. Even though we both agree to it, it seems we weren't sure exactly how to pick things back up. Well, I mean, anything, I guess. So long as you're together, right? We take a step closer. Tentative. Ah, tentatively. And then another step. We're close. I can feel her breath on me. My heartbeat accelerates again. Once again. We both lean in slightly. Closer. Closer. Okay, Monica. I know you're listening to me. Don't do it. I close my eyes in anticipation. Our lips gingerly meet. It was only for a second, but it was like time had stopped for that 1 second. We had kissed. I leaned back, opened my eyes, and realized we're both grinning like idiots. Maybe things would be alright after all. Hey, Yuri. Thanks for inviting me out here. Yuri returns to her familiar reserved demeanor. Of course. It was my pleasure. Yet again we stand. No words appropriate for the occasion. It really is a beautiful day today. And then she just jumps back. After a moment, Yuri offers me her hand. I oblige with much more confidence than I had the last time this situation arose. Shall we be off then? Sure thing. After you, milady. We begin walking together out of the graveyard. Oh, Daniel. I pause for Yuri's inquiry. What is it? I appreciate how you stood up for me at school and all, but I just do not wish for another confrontation like that. Should that boy taunt us again, I would prefer a non-violent response is all. I think it would be better for us overall. Well, it probably would be. That way we don't have to involve any senseless violence or anything in this. The thought alone of seeing that smug mouth breather again irks me. Mouth breather? What is a mouth breather? Well, anyways. But Yuri's right. Yeah, sure thing. If Yuri has if Yuri has things she's going to work on, then I should too. We match smiles with a reassurance and continue on our way out of the park. I'm sure we have a lot to figure out ahead of us. The first of which probably being getting the literature club back on track. But we can address that later. For now, we're content to enjoy the moment. A short instance to catch our breath after all the turbulence. I'm optimistic. Now, I think things really can work out after all.